Hey guys, this is the Raspberry Pi 5, and in this video, we're going to cover all the components and features of this. Now, quick note before we start the actual video, we are going to have a totally separate video covering the PCIe slot over here and covering booting off of M2 drives and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, stay tuned for a future video on that. Ignore anything I mentioned about that in this video. And also remember to check the link in the description for where you can pick this up, where you can pick up the power supply, and where you can pick up some other accessories as well. And also, I'm going to go over the GPIO pins at the end of the video, but realistically, you're probably better off just looking at a diagram. I'm going to try to put a link to a diagram in the description of this video, so you remember, check the description of the video. Let's jump to the actual video now. Hey guys, so this is the Raspberry Pi 5. Now, we're going to go over the components and features of this single board computer. So let's start out. Here now. Let's see here. This right here is the SoC, or System on a Chip. Now within this, you have, so this is a Broadcom BCM 2712 SoC, and within it, there is both a CPU and a GPU inside this SoC. So they call it an SoC. A lot of people will just tell you, oh yeah, this is the CPU, but the correct term is SoC, or System on a Chip. So yeah, it's the Broadcom BCM 2712 SoC, and it contains an ARM Cortex A76 CPU. It's quad-core at 2.4 gigahertz. Now, it also contains a GPU, the Video Core 7, with 12 cores, and it supports dual 4K at 60 frames per second, and it has a 4K 60 frame per second HEVC decoder and ISP, or image signal processor. So that is the system on a chip. Now, you'll notice right above that, you have the SRAM right up here. Now, this could come in 1 gig, 2 gig, 4 gig, or 8 gig, but I believe it's only coming in 4 and 8 initially. So you get to choose between 4 gig and 8 gig. Now, interesting thing, on the side here, if you look closely, I don't know if I'm going to zoom this in anymore, but you'll see there are some resistors, and they're labeled. So there's 4 different places you could put the resistors. So if you put a resistor here, it's 1 gig, 2 gig, 4 gig, or 8 gig. So you don't have to plug this in and do any special checks. If you want to figure out how much RAM your Raspberry Pi 5 has, you just look here and you see the one that has a resistor is 8 gigs. So you know this is an 8 gig model. So this particular model is an 8 gig Raspberry Pi 5. Now, I'm going to go over these GPIO pins later at the end of the video, but I'm just going to go over all the other components for now. So over here, you have the dual band 802.11ac wireless. So that's your Wi-Fi in this thing right here. And it also has Bluetooth 5. Now, I'm going to jump over here for a moment. And so this thing right here, this chip right here with the Raspberry Pi logo on it, is a Raspberry Pi RP1 I/O controller. So that is a South Bridge, or an I/O controller for the Raspberry Pi 5. It is designed in-house by Raspberry Pi, and they're pretty proud of it. Now, let's jump back over to the other side of the board. Over here, this is a PCI Express interface. You're going to need an adapter for this, but that gives you a lot of options. It allows you to use so this is going to allow you to use an M2 board, an M2 drive. So there are a few options for M2 based hardware that can connect to this. So let's see, what did I have on that? Well, we'll come back to that a little bit later, either later in this video or in the next video. But all right, so next thing we're going to look at is over here, right next to this, is the PMIC right here. So this is the power button right here. Press this to power it on. Now, sorry, this is the PMIC, so that's the Power Management Integrated Circuit. So this thing here is the PMIC, whereas this is the on-off button. So yeah, and then they're like right next to each other. So there's the actual button, and this is the actual PMIC, right? So right here you have your USB-C power jack, and right next to it you have a real-time real-time clock battery connector. So this guy right here is where you would plug in the battery for your real-time clock. You can buy that separately. I haven't bought one yet, but I'm going to buy one and review it and show you how to set it up and use it, which is probably just going to be plugging it in and proving that it works. Now you have two micro HDMI ports. So that's going to be this and this. So it's not standard HDMI. You're going to need an adapter or a plug that supports it. Once you have that, you can plug one into each of these and run dual 4K displays. And over here, you have a UART connector. So that is going to be UART connector for connecting a console, so you can basically get you can basically see what's going on in your system and debug things. So connect a debug console to that. Planning kind of a whole separate video for that to show you how to do that, but you don't have to connect things to other pins like you would with the Raspberry Pi 4. Let's see, what else do we want to cover here, or what other components? Next, we want to look at, okay, right here, this is interesting. A change from the Raspberry Pi 4, you have the CSI DSI slots. So you have two of them. They're interchangeable. So on the Raspberry Pi 4, you had one CSI and one DSI. So the CSI for the camera and the DSI for the display. Well, on this, either of these can be used for either. So you could have dual displays, or you could have dual cameras, or you could have one camera, one display. You can plug either a camera or a display into either of these two ports right here. And they're a little bit smaller than the Raspberry Pi 4, so you're going to need a cable of the appropriate width, so like an adapter cable or something along those lines. So make sure you get the appropriate cable for that. So over here you have the PoE, or Power on Ethernet, hat connector. So you connect a hat for the power over Ethernet to this thing right here. Now, let's see. Next, we are going to look at these right here. So here you have your Ethernet jack, and hold on, let me see if I can get this to. You know what? I'm going to hold this like this. This is the way I have my camera focused for this video. Apologies for the angle, but yeah, you have your Ethernet right here. So your gigabit Ethernet. You've got two USB 3.0 ports right here, and two USB 2.0 ports right here. Now I'm going to put this back down here, and there we go. Get the camera back in focus. Now here you have your Ethernet transceiver. So this little thing here that's kind of at an angle, Ethernet transceiver, that's for your Ethernet right here, right? So, and we've talked about the South Bridge already. Over here you have a fan connector, and I haven't tried that yet, but I believe, I think on the Raspberry Pi 4 I had to connect the fan to some GPIO ports. So this is different, and I believe you're going to have to take this tab off or something, but I haven't tried it yet. So now there's your fan connector, and let's see, is that all the components? I believe we've gone over almost all of the components on this board. There's a few other features we want to cover, but before we do that, let's take a look at the back here. And this is where the SIM card goes in, similar to your Raspberry Pi 4, except this is going to be a little bit faster, so it allows you to use faster. I don't know if I misspoke and said SIM card. This is where your SD card goes, and it allows you to use faster SD cards than you would in than you would be able to take advantage of in the Raspberry Pi 4. So Raspberry Pi 5 has faster speeds for your SD card that can go here, which you may choose to use, or you may choose to boot off of an M2 drive. So you can connect SATA M2 drives to your PCIe port right here. So that's something that's supported, and I'm going to try doing that. I'm going to show you that on a future video. I'm going to shoot for that hopefully hopefully I'll have that video coming out pretty soon and do that in a reasonable amount of time, trying to get videos out in a more reasonable time frame these days. So in any case, let's see, what else do we want to cover with this? There's some other interesting things. One really important thing to note about the Raspberry Pi, about the Raspberry Pi 5 is that there is no audio jack on here. So different from the Raspberry Pi 4, this was actually really disappointing for me. No audio jack, or no, audio jack or the 3.5 millimeter audio socket. So that's just completely missing. You can use a USB. You can use USB audio, so you can get a little USB It's basically a sound card, a mini sound card that you can plug in here that will basically, it looks like just an adapter from USB to 3.5 millimeter audio socket, but it's actually an entire sound card you could plug into this. So you could use that as an alternative. You could also connect an audio hat to this if you wanted, if you really wanted to put that much effort into it, or you could just rely on audio through HDMI through these. So yeah, if you were hoping to plug headphones directly into this, you're going to want that USB adapter or the audio hat. So let's see, other things to, yeah, so this does have an RTC or real-time clock built into it, unlike previous versions of the Raspberry Pi, and you can connect a battery for that over here. Now, let's see, let's see, what else did we want to, oh yes, so, all right, composite video. So previous versions had composite video. Now, I forget what you had to do to get this working on the Raspberry Pi 4, but yeah, they did not include the composite video port on the Raspberry Pi 4. I think you could connect one to some other pins, I forget which, but they didn't include it. I know they had it on the original Raspberry Pi, so it's something that has historically been included. And strangely enough, it looks like you can. I haven't found a lot of information on this yet. Looks like you can use composite video on this thing. It's strange that they have support for composite video and not for, you know, an audio jack, right? But they now you don't see a port for composite video, but you could connect one yourself. So if you notice here, let's see if I can get this to focus yet again. And if you look down here, these two holes here, I believe you can solder one into those two holes. So if you look on the front, it's if you look really carefully, and if I can get this camera to focus, so it's these two holes right here, and those two holes, you can see right next to them, it says VID. So I believe these are the composite. You could connect a composite video connector to these. I have not looked into what you need to do for that. I haven't confirmed if that's something you can do, and I don't know why many people would want to do that, but you could do that if you would like to, right? So there's that, and let's see what else. Active cooling. So it is not required. This does not require active cooling to run, but it will run better under load if you have active cooling, so you can avoid CPU throttling. So after a very short amount of time, the CPU is going to start throttling on this thing. So if you have active cooling, you can avoid that. And you don't need a whole lot. You can use the case that comes with the official case that you can get for this actually comes with it comes with a heat sink, and I believe it comes with a heat sink, but it also comes with a fan. I haven't looked at actually picking that up because I'm going to go with an alternate solution, but that case is everything you need to cool your Raspberry Pi 5 and avoid throttling. You can also buy heat sinks for your SoC and for your RAM and your other components, and you can buy all sorts of other third-party solutions up to and including water cooling. So you can buy like a ridiculous over-the-top water cooling system for your Raspberry Pi 5 if you want to. I'm not sure if I'm going to do that or buy one of the other. I'm going to try to get something that's a little bit overkill for this, just for fun, but I'm probably not going water cooling. But we'll see how that goes. So yeah, the other thing, the power supply. You're going to want a 5 volt, 5 amp USB-C power supply, such as the new Raspberry Pi 27 watt USB-C power. Now, I reviewed one of those in a video I already put out. So yeah, this is the power supply. I should have zoomed out for this, but yeah, 45 watt Canakit power supply. If you want more info on that, I've already put the video out for that. So just go check the videos I've already put out, and check the link in the description for where you can buy that on Amazon. Yeah, I'll try to put a link for where you can buy that power supply on Amazon, and where you can buy this Raspberry Pi 5 on Amazon, and I'll try to include a link to the video where I reviewed that power supply and talked about it a little bit, but I already have a separate video about that power supply, so go check that one out if you want more info on the power supply itself. Now, let's see. I think that's almost everything I wanted to go over. Let's take a quick look at the GPIO pins. So, let's see. All right, I think that's all the topics other than GPIO pins. Remember to hit that subscribe button if you want more awesome content like this. All right, so let's go over the GPIO pins. So on the left side, you have pins 1 through 39, odd numbers. On the right side, you have pins 2 through 40, even numbers. So this is supposed to match previous generations of the Raspberry Pi. So in any case, pin number 1 on the left side here, we're going to do all left side to start, is 3.3. And then pin number 3 is GPIO 2. Pin number 5, GPIO 3, and pin number 7 here is GPIO 4. Pin number 9 here is ground. Now, pin number 11 is GPIO 17. Pin number 13 is GPIO 27. Pin number 15 right here is GPIO 22. And right here we have pin number 17, which is 3.3 volt. And then pin number 19 right here is GPIO 10. Pin number 21 here is GPIO 9. And pin number 23 right here is GPIO 11. Pin number 25 right here is ground. And pin number 27 right here, that is going to be DNC. And pin 29 over here is GPIO 5. And pin 31 right here is GPIO 6. And pin 33 right here is going to be GPIO 13. And then right here, we have pin 35 for GPIO 19. Then we have pin 37, which is GPIO 26. And then we have pin number 39. This last one on the left is ground. And apologies for the focus on this video. Hopefully that came out all right. All right. So if you look on the right side here, you need to start out with pin number 2, that's 5 volt. Pin number 4, also 5 volt. Pin number 6 is ground. And pin numbers 8 and 10 are GPIO 14 and 15. Pin number 12 over here is going to be GPIO 18. And over here we have pin 14 is ground. And 16 is GPIO 23, 18 is GPIO 24, and ground over here on pin number 20, so pin 22 right here is going to be GPIO 25, pin 24 over here, GPIO 8, and pin 26 right here is going to be GPIO 7. Pin 28 right here is DNC, and pin 30 right here is ground. And let's see, pin 31 right here is sorry, 32 right here is GPIO 12. And pin 34 right here is ground. Pin 36 right here is going to be GPIO 16, and then pin 38 is going to be GPIO 20, and pin 40 is GPIO 21. This last guy right here. And yeah, that's it for those pins. All right, so that's everything I wanted to cover for this Raspberry Pi 5 in this video, all the components and the pins and all that stuff. So I've covered most of it. There are going to be a lot of how-tos, how to do things, how to connect different components, and how to boot it off of like an M2 drive, how to boot it off of like USB, all that sort of stuff, how to use the UART, how to use that UART console, and a whole ton of other interesting things we're gonna have. We're gonna demo this. We're gonna try to. I want to try pushing the CPU and watch. I'm gonna try to see if I can graph it and show where it hits thermal throttling. I'm gonna try out at least one active cooling kit and see how that affects throttling, and do a bunch of tests and stuff like that in future videos. So have those coming up. Stay tuned for all that. But that's about it for this video. So yeah, definitely hit that subscribe button. hit the bell icon so you get updates when we actually put out new videos. And yeah, give us a thumbs up, leave a comment down below if you have any questions, comments, criticisms, or anything you want to anything you want people to know. If you have your own experience with anything, yeah, just leave a comment down below. And yeah, if you want to see more awesome content like this, or we have also a ton of other stuff. We do a lot of Linux stuff, servers, coding, electronics, other SPCs, robots, all sorts of great content you're not going to want to miss out on. So yeah, hit that subscribe button. And yeah, oh yeah, and before I forget, if I haven't mentioned this, definitely check the link in the description for where you can pick this up, and also check you know for where you can pick this up, and where you can pick up the power supply, and probably I'm going to include some other accessories as well in the description of this video. And that's about it for today. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on that next video.